nice to see you again. Florence Souchy, fashion industry business coach. I'm going to explain you why we use Chinese in fashion industry. First of all, the consumer, which is number one in all around the world who buy luxury products, is Chinese. So, and also in China, you have a lot of billionaires. That's a point. And so all this business about Chinese fashion industry mean that even in China and out of China, you have a lot of consumers, but also talented people in fashion industry design. You also have fashion industry designers such as Guo Pei or other ones that makes the things happening in fashion industry. So today, why do I learn so much in Chinese, pushing me like 8-10 hours per week, pushing me like learning Chinese? It is why I am, it's happening. In 2017, I came in China by accident. I was working for 10 years in finance and I arrived in China. And I had no choice because I have this cultural shock, you know, and when you have a cultural shock, you have no choice to learn the language. So I learned Chinese, yes. And I tried to push myself to learn from the beginning without a word of Chinese until now with business Chinese. So today, what is my level? I can say like HSK4 around. And I also learned Chinese business, and I had this amazing experience to use my Chinese business Chinese. I mean, in Confucius, in Institut Confucius last week in Paris, and it was so amazing. It was just a great experience to put all your learning, like you're reading like the Chinese character, and then you put it in the context of a business play. It's just amazing because if you know how to pronounce the words and the Chinese characters, you're the best in fashion industry. One more thing, in my experience, I had this experience in business in China market with a Tmall. Tmall is China e-commerce, and it helps fashion industry brand to develop into the Chinese market. But for that, you need to know a lot about Chinese. If you don't speak Chinese in China, forget it. It's not going to work. You have to learn so much in Chinese so that people can understand you, because you have no English, only Chinese. And especially the official language Mandarin in the business exchange. That's why. Well, so my tips for today as a fashion industry business coach is, if you want to enter to implement your fashion industry brand into Chinese market, you need to learn Chinese and business, because as soon as you know, the process, and also you need to know about the business culture in China, which is completely the opposite in Europe. So if you want to develop this, that's gonna be huge, but you have to push yourself, learning the language, learning how Chinese people, are doing business, for example. Just an example, when in Western countries, we always like, okay, we have this contract, we think about making money, blah, blah, blah. In China, it's different. In China, as soon as they know you as a fashion industry designer or a fashion brand, they take time to know you, how you act, how you think, how you speak Chinese, and it's the way it is. So, I have such a good example. When I was in Suzhou, it was my first time I present my brand as a fashion industry designer, and that was Dylan Dantes who helped me so much. For 6 months, we prepared all this speech and PowerPoint presentation in Chinese. It was amazing. It was a success. And after that, all the Chinese people come to me and say, we're very interesting about my brand, and because I make all this presentation into Chinese. That's why. So I will give you the link of the PPT I've made in Chinese, just right here. And you can click on my channel, YouTube channel, and just put a comment and what you think. See you, take care.